I mean, I left Trinidad, I was 16 years old. I can't remember the trees, which is in season or not. Which
That
trees
is
would
it.
be in season as mango?
Right now, mango is coming into season. My tree is
Okay,
flowering.
so what other fruit trees
Uh,
boys would climb
well,
at
plum.
mango time?
No,
So mango,
I don't know synchronized with mango season, but we have plum, pomerac.
mango,
You
plum,
mentioned that.
pomerac would be in the same season.
Tenet, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm saying I
I
don't.
think you could get pomerac and mango at the same time, but some
Yeah, I
pomerac
see
trees,
people selling pomerac.
yes, maybe about 2 or 3 times for the year.
Oh, okay. So mango, pomerac, plum, and
No, Frank, you had to ask people. Ask
Plum,
other people. Yes.
plum. I
Hey,
have a
Krish.
big plum tree.
Colette,
Plum tree.
there's a map that tells you what's
Really?
season. Yeah, the
Really,
fruits are.
Gosha? Where's that?
Yeah,
I think
you just have to Google it. I'll try to see if I can find it.
All right.
okay.
Look Gosha to the rescue there.
All
Hey,
right.
Krish.
Yeah.
Krish, are you seeing me on the program?
No, boy.
But-
I'm still
Yes,
No,
you're
but
on
I-
the program, Vishnu, but we're still
seeing
not
a-
seeing you on camera. We're hearing you clear though.
picture of a
we hear you
camera.
clear, but
this
no
glass
picture.
that says no
I
entry.
wonder if your
Not
is
no
your
entry, no parking. Huh?
your camera is it built
The
in, Vishnu?
camera is not turned on.
Well, when that happened to me one time, there's a little screen that goes across your camera eye,
Your
and
laptop.
that was closed when that happened to me. So maybe just try to slide it back.
It's on the laptop itself if you're on a laptop, Vishnu.
I'm on a laptop.
Anyhow, as there's
Okay,
a
so
lull.
you see where the camera is on the
Good.
laptop? See if there's something you can slide across there.
Gush, as there's a lull in the proceedings here, let me go on and read first now before they
No,
start back.
lull. But we
Yeah.
haven't started yet. I'm trying to get us on recording.
Right.
So just give me a minute and I'll make sure you go first.
Yeah, waiting.
Okay.
While I sharpen my cutlass here by the time. Right.
Hi, good afternoon, all. Welcome to our first official session of Poetry and Prose. Today is our open mic and discussion session. We have quite a few readings for you today. Thank you for joining us. And we will start with Krishna Samaru. Krishna, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to start first. I chose this because of what we talked about at the last session where Arlene raised the question. Arlene raised the talk about writers and how they go about writing. What's the modus operandi? So I chose this, and this is from Song of a Barefoot Soul. Okay, a first reader. Much like a craft cut in the blue linen of the sea. Now, I stole that image from Walcott. As a Walcottian image. Much like a craft cut in the blue linen of the sea, the narrative now races with no fixed destination as its mark. At least the form has now steadied somewhat. Impressions remain the clay out of which each line is pinched and stretched to tension point. And I have pledged to see it come to print. I'll repeat that line. And I have pledged to see it come to print. Eros and Thanatos predominate quite easily. I can see it running to a great length, he said. He was dying to see the end, the effect of crafting, the ars poetica, as he termed it. I have excised much to keep the details to the bare minimum for the time being. I understand, he said, the reticence. I still work according to moods and time. Each line I monitor through the keyboard. At times, I may summon an impression or type a line, urgent to be revealed. I wait, and the brain gets all excited, leading the fingers over characters. She likes to read the lines hot off the press, as she puts it. She's the second reader. To explain impressions kills the wonder, I tell her. She seems offended. He said he did not know there was a first reader. I think of him reading this, and I stall at each new line, wondering what effect an image would have, or a metaphor. I wonder how they will react, I said. I saw him speaking in his critic's pose, taking time to point out each flaw he found. He advised to keep writing in the faith that some 15 to 20 years from now, when the work would most likely see the light of day, someone would proclaim its beauty. Someone would declare the work good. Perhaps reading it would be labeled critical. Thank you. And I think that's what we do as writers of poetry and prose, people who are producing. Someone would proclaim its beauty someday. Someone would declare the work good. Perhaps reading it would be labeled critical. Thank you.
Would you?
Yeah, so I wrote this since 2000, before 2000. So it's now 26 years later, right? So what I said in that piece, I said some, you only remember what I said? I can't remember what I said. What I said, some 15 to 20 years from now, when the work would most likely see the light of day. And the work has seen the light of day. This is a revised edition that I uploaded to Amazon. So someone would label it beautiful, good, or necessary for understanding literature in Trinidad, literature in the Caribbean. Okay. Yes, Frank, you were saying something?
Well, I was just going to say it'd be nice to see those pieces as visually as you read it.
Yes, I know, Frank.
It's a lot to take in verbally.
Yeah, but if you notice, it's echoing much of what I said last day about how I write, how the mood comes, how I sit there, how I type, you know. And this particular book is what I have termed often a post-Biswas novel. You know, it's a post-Biswas work about Indians when they reach the city, what happened to them? Because Naipaul has them reaching the city, okay? And it ends there, a house of Mr. Biswas. I take up that, but I couldn't, as I say, write a novel. So what I had to do is to hide using poetry as a code, using a code. So there's his, there's he, there's she. You don't know who is the he, who is the she. There's only he's and she's in this. Nobody's name. So when I say he's reading it, like I was thinking of Ramchand, Professor Ramchand. When I say he said he understood the reticence, I was thinking of my good friend Louis Regis, who passed away. When I said she was the second reader, I'm thinking of somebody else. When I said she was not the first reader, was somebody else. So there's a first reader, there's a second reader, and then he's the third reader who would see this for the first time. But I was telling Arlene and whoever were there last time that I am satisfied to a great extent with the way Amazon, the standard that I get from Amazon, the professionalism, satisfied to a great extent with it.
Is that
as opposed to, as I say, some of the local printers.
That the name of that book, is it Barefoot? Is it say Barefoot?
Yeah, Song of a Barefoot Soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Any other comments?
Right. I'm sorry
Well,
that
I just wanted
sorry
to
that
say
Aline,
that
Aline just I'm sorry that Aline was not around to hear me
Yeah.
read that, but of course she could look at the
You can
tape.
send it to her as well.
She could look at the tape version. No, no.
I,
She could look
I
at the
think
I was going to say, Krishna, that you know what your observances back then, 20 something odd years ago, is as fresh today and as relevant to the rest of us as writers.
yeah.
So you
So
know,
that
in
is
that
yeah.
in
So
that
that is
way you've succeeded in
yeah.
your goal.
So that's what you hope
Um,
as a writer. Now. You hope as a writer. I'm not just writing for, if you write now, I'm not just writing for 2026. I'm writing for way beyond, long after, long after you don't want to say the word, right, Frank? From this Trini joke about rigor mortis. Yeah, long after rigor mortis set in. Yeah, so when I
Krisha
wrote
was
it
saying,
before 2000, um, I was hoping it would have meaning, relevance, beyond that. And as I say, we're in 2026. And when I pick it up, I mean, it's vain to think of it like that, but I say, okay, I like it. It's nice, And I say, let me read it. Yeah. Yes, Moti?
I was talking about that, the writer and the reader relationship.
Yeah.
There's a guy in Canada. He's a penal person named Yong Tai, Kim Man Yong Tai.
I
And
know the
he used to
name.
be
I
writing.
know the name.
Yeah, he used
And
to
I've
be
seen
on
some of his
Facebook,
work.
and he used to write a sonnet a day for quite
Yeah.
a while. And then in the last, say, take a little sabbatical, he wasn't writing. He's a
Yeah.
penal boy, and he's also a great, great fan of Derek Walcott. If you look at his poems,
I have
and
seen some of his poems on My Trinidad.
right, also he's a write a sonnet a day on Facebook.
I saw some of
A long sonnet.
I saw this. Well, no, it's 14
Man,
lines.
Well,
A
yeah,
sonnet is 14
sorry.
lines,
Yeah.
14
but
lines. Yeah.
it was
Sometimes
detailed.
sometimes he used to have longer
The
lines.
length of the
Okay,
line
lines. Yeah.
is longer.
Yeah, but what he used to say, what he says, actually I know him well. He's a penal boy, and
Yeah.
that I think about 2 years ago he was in Trinidad. He was home by me, and we chat and all that. Anyway, he says that you write, and if he have 1, 2, or 3 readers, he's very happy.
That is
So I
good.
just
That
so
is
I just
correct.
thought I would say that.
That is correct,
And
because
you
number doesn't mean like in the size of an audience. If there's just one person, that one person could have such a great impact on you as a writer, rather than have a full hall of 75 or 100 or 1,000 people reading too. Sometimes
and
one person might be
well,
more fulfilling to you than 10, 20, whatever. I remember I think it was Kumar Mahabir. He went to give a talk. I think the Diwali Nagar, and he saw so few people say, no, I can't speak. Or they can't bring me here to talk to what, 10 people, 15 people. No, I gone. I feel you could double check me on that. Kumar Mahabir. He pack up and he
that
gone.
I know Kumar, and that sounds like him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what about Kingman? He has quite a following in the Trinidad literary um thing there because a lot of people from Bocas and all that follow him, Runa Baptiste and all that. And one thing he does is that if you engage him in some commentary, he always reply. He
Yeah.
always reply. So I was just talking about whether he has one nobody read or somebody. If one person read, I think we should be grateful.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
just as an aside, his sister and I were in the same class in university. She's a pediatrician in Toronto. Do you know his sister?
Moti, yeah, need to unmute.
I know Kimman because and as I say, he's a Pinal boy,
Yeah.
and his wife used to be my neighbor
Oh,
growing up.
his sister's name is Kin Fan Yong Tai. Kin
They
Fan.
used, they used to have a shop opposite the market, opposite the Pinal market. Heather might know the shop. Young Thai
Yes,
shop
I
opposite
remember it,
Pinal market.
Motilal. Yeah.
Yeah, they just it's to be opposite the market, and they used to have these on Saturdays. They used to have about 2 or 3 barbers used to come out there with the stools and used to do haircuts.
Alrighty, thank you for the commentary. I'm checking to see if Althea is in the room.
I think Althea is here.
Althea? Okay, if not, we will put it on hold and move on to Vishnu Gusain. Vishnu?
Yeah, okay. Are you hearing me?
Hi, we
Loud
are.
and clear.
All right. I guess you're hearing me now, right? Is that right?
Yes.
No? Yeah?
Yes, we're
Loud
hearing.
and clear, Vishnu.
great.
Loud and clear.
We're good. All right. So the story I'm going to read is a story called Without Prejudice. It's taken from this collection, The Spirit of the Commonwealth, which I had won a little competition, the Commonwealth Short Story Competition in, I think it was 1997. And the collection was published in 2005. So I'm reading from this book. It's about a 500-word story. Mr. Knott wished for all the good things in life, but as a carpenter in Esperanza, he worked for the lowest wages. Because of this, he stretched his income to its limit to satisfy his family's wants. One day he suddenly discovered he could be trapped forever in this squatter's settlement on the edge of the roaring sea. For years, the squatters had been approaching their member of parliament to lobby for a decent housing project. Lately, the MP changed his residence, but he faithfully promised to have a particular 10-acre parcel of land reserved for the poor of Caroni. And he kept his promise. Immediately after, the squatters reported to the Regional County Council's office, where they furnished the particulars demanded, including the occupations and wages. Their days were now filled with warmth, gentleness, and relief. Mr. Knott foresaw the fulfillment of his dream of a new house for his little ones. Each day he thought the bulldozer would clear the lands, but each day brought a fresh disappointment. When their patience was exhausted, they searched again for the MP. "I'm sorry," his caretaker said. "Bossman bought a new house in Popper Park. You could always find him there." Without the ability to communicate to the higher ups in society, they could not see him. In the new area, houses were shooting up and their sizes were beyond Mr. Knott's wildest dreams. Shocked, he said to his wife, "Oh God, this girl tell me the land is for poor people, so I must get one. But lazy you," she said. "Sit down and wait, eh? Hope you get the land, but what you going to build a house with? Your gold teeth? Get a next work, man." The next week, Mr. Nat found another job, which would earn him an additional $80. Later, he saw more houses springing up. So early that morning, he dashed to the regional office. "I come to see the nice lady," he told the security officer. "Nice lady help me fill form. Nice lady." At about 3:30, a clerk admitted him to an inner office. "What nice lady?" Mr. Nat explained himself for the sixth time that day. "Look, mister, let me look for a name and see what's going on here." Half an hour later, she returned. "I see no form for you." "None at all." Mr. Nat repeated the story, the history of his goings and comings. "But there's no form for you, man, no form at all. If you wish, you could apply for a lot, but you must fill out the form today." Unwillingly, Mr. Nat complied. "When the check back, Betty, whenever you want, whenever, and have a pleasant day." Disappointed, he decided to walk through the development to see how many lots were unoccupied. The magnificence of the buildings, many of them air-conditioned, stunned him. But he saw 6 empty lots, and this rekindled his spirit. Months passed. When no news was forthcoming, he returned to the office once more. "Land, mister? What land? Wait. The same smiling clerk whom he had called Beatty, meaning daughter, attended to him. She returned with a huge book. "Let me see." She read through his application form. Oh yes. Not right. "But you applied too late, man. And then you overqualify. Ha! Worse than anything, all the land's already given out. You have to apply early next time when more land become available." "No land for me?" "Oh God, no land for me. And I wait so long. Oh God, what I could do now, eh? What I could do now?" Mr. Nat tried again to contact his member of parliament. "Sorry, sir," he was told. "Mr. Smith no longer works here. He is this country's ambassador for refugees with the United Nations." Thank you very much. That was Without Prejudice.
Thank you, Vishnu. Any comments?
Thank you. Yes.
Well, Vishnu just probably that story shows the the frustration of red tape, and how you can try and it's like that in every country, even here.
That whole problem about land, the state right now they have a program. They're saying you could apply land for the landless. Okay. But that whole problem is something that has been occurring for years. Like the whole what we call the HDC, and people who apply since maybe in the 1980s and they die and they don't get to land at all. And because of the bureaucracy, and two, the corruption. And another point that Vishnu bring in there, you had me thinking about something. That like the talk about the MPs. The MP does no longer lives here. As soon as you get elected, you're upwardly mobile and you move to a bigger place. So, there's unless you have some kind of connection or I don't know what, or if you're extremely lucky to get a piece of land or house from the government in this country is, I don't know, is nearly hopeless. It's just a thought. Recently there was something in Parliament, and there was this guy, he must be, who was an MP who was from Laventille. Not Laventille, sorry, Beetham, who was from Beetham. And he's an MP now, and according to what they said in Parliament, he moved out of Beetham. He going to live in a, um, a high housing, exclusive housing department now. So I don't know. Hoping for these people to help you. I don't know. It is hopeless. Thanks.
There's a background to this story. My brother-in-law is an engineer, and he was in charge of laying down the infrastructure for pipe, for sewer, water. And one day he said to me, he said, Vishnu, come, right here in Cuba, right here. And when I saw the houses being going up, the ACs and the large lots and all that, I asked him, I said, but I thought this place was for poor people. He said, well, he shut them out. That's it. It's still there. There's no longer poor people living there again. I mean, if you drive through Royston, now you'll see who live in there. It is terrible. And I know another story, a personal story, in which this adopted son of mine, for 10 years he's applying for it from the PNM government and now the UNC government, and it's the same runaround. It's the same runaround. Come back, fill this form, go here, go over there, try this one, try that one, go to Morgan Finance now, for the Spain, and still, you're still waiting. It's a big racket, big time. Anyway, let me get into that.
Vishnu, is it a short story or is that just an excerpt?
No, it's actually, this is the Commonwealth Short Story Competition so many years ago.
And that's the full 500 words you talked about.
In those days, yeah, 500 words.
You call him Mr. Nat. Is there a rationale for that? Because
No.
when he went to fill out the form, you still see referring to him as Mr. Nat.
No, that's my
Did you say
thing.
Nat Kisoon or?
I like calling people by the name Mr. In those days. Now I changed it a little bit.
Oh.
Um,
And the other thing I wondered about, when you say this squatter settlement on the edge of the sea, what where you were thinking?
I think
Calibe,
actually that's supposed to be an error in the story.
Oh, because
Yeah,
you say Stina and you talk
No.
about Esperanza.
Yeah. I think in editing I should have removed roaring sea. That shouldn't be there. That shouldn't be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless, as I say, you had him applying for land near Calibe, which would bring in the sea.
Well, it's near Calibe, Roystonia.
But
Royston.
the only thing is that is not roaring.
No.
Yeah.
That's why I said it should have been edited out.
Okay. And then the other thing I had a little issue about was when he went back, they said he was overqualified, but then he
Yeah.
was looking for another job as a carpenter. He was looking for another job. He
But-
didn't say what other job he got, but then
No.
they told him he was overqualified. That's the
Yeah.
prejudice coming in.
Yeah, because sometimes you apply for a lot and they tell you, okay, apply. And when you have applied, you go back again, which is what happened to this person of mine. They said, you're overqualified, man.
Yeah.
Nowadays it has changed, yeah? It has changed a little bit, but it's basically the same thing.
Okay.
They give you different levels.
Okay.
All right, that's my story.
I think the TTMF, their qualification for the 2% loan is 14,000.
Yeah, it's I know
Or
which each
the qualify.
administration it seems to be different.
Yeah, yeah. But I would extend it a little because one thing I think people can relate to, you see these houses going up, and then immediately after, you see homes being listed for rent or for sale.
Yep, yep, yep.
So
Yeah.
it would be nice to include that after in the story if you ever intend to extend it.
Yeah.
All right, if there are no other comments,
Yeah, but just to reinforce what the story was saying, what Vishnu was saying in the story. You know, you see all these lots, these HDC lots being given to people, and they also give them money to start. And then when you look, you see mansions going up. You see
mm-hmm.
3-story, 4-story, and houses, mansions really. So you wonder now. And I know many teachers with mansions in Union Hall. I was a teacher. We applied and we got a number. That is Caroline applied. She got a number and we waited and waited and waited and waited. It was only when the People's Partnership came in and I have been taught Anand Ramlogan at Pleasantville. I asked for a little help. But what Anand offered me was a 1 in 4. 1 in 4, and it was dilapidated. And we went and looked at it in Sharona's right here. It was dilapidated, and Caroline bluntly refused it. And that was the extent of his help. Yeah, I mean, he did help. He brought up the application. But the 1 in 4 we couldn't take. So she just tore up her application after that. So right now we are rented.
I applied for one in and I looked at it over in Endeavor, and they said there was no more availabilities there. And then I'm seeing those apartments that was listed at 650,000 now being sold for over 800,000 by various different real estate agents. So it's interesting. People are getting it and they clearly don't need it. But it's an what they call it, an investment property. And if you're looking on the market these days, it'll be highly unlikely that you'll go see to an open house where persons aren't looking for homes as in investment opportunities. So it makes you question.
Yep.
But that's a
Lot of
great story
questions.
because it really reflects. I like stories like that reflect the reality of what is actually taking place in the world without being basis or trying to bring it down or trying to talk about or trying to give any kind of commentary. You just showed it from a human aspect. So thank you for that offering. Okay, if there are no other comments, I will go ahead to Heather. Heather's going to take us to the rum shop. Heather is going to be
All right,
reading
yes.
the rum shop.
Well, this is from one of the books that I put out last year called Tales from a Roadside Rum Shop. So this one actually
as I was preparing to go to my children.
Who's that? Okay. Okay, so this one is called Doc's Rum Shop. Doc had the best rum shop in St. Hilaire. It was a little shack right on the beach. And while it welcomed customers from far and wide, it catered primarily to local fishermen coming off their expeditions at sea. A homey ambience with a lean toward the rustic separated this place from the more sophisticated offerings in town, but the friendly, down to earth demeanor of the owner and bartender, Doc, more than made up for that. An easygoing man, Doc was a good listener. He was father confessor to so many locals with their daily concerns. He would no doubt be the author of some salacious stories if he ever chose to become a writer. As he wove magic with alcoholics mixations, as he called them, people spilled their guts about their love affairs, tragic stories, family entanglements, debts, sorrows, joys, and ups and downs. He listened with empathy, gave advice where needed, kept silent by instinct on certain stories, imparted the wisdom of a sage on others, and kept all secrets. But it was the local fisherman who truly captured his heart. Once upon a time, Doc was himself a fisherman, but a run-in with an outboard motor cut that career short. Knowing the challenges of the temperamental ocean, however, he had a soft spot for those men who plied the waters of the great Atlantic on a daily basis. This quaint rum shop was his attempt to give sustenance to those hard-working men who came off the waters mid-morning each day, pulling their pirogues ashore right at his very front door. 3 such men were his brothers in arms, Davy, Roscoe, and Dan. He knew them from small, growing up on the village together and attending a one-room school under the saman tree on the village green. For them, any higher education was out of reach. It was only the sea that beckoned to them, beguiling in the glittering sun and feared in the ferocity of storms. They learned to read the sun, moon, and stars, and to gauge winds, tides, and currents. They could smell rain in the air before it fell and observe their yard fowl and wild bird restlessness before upcoming storms. Yet they knew, too, no matter how fair the weather, the sea could be unpredictable, especially when it held you in its grasp. Doc, boy, we heading out there, Davy called out to Doc as he casually passed in front of the rum shop around noon on a Friday. Boy, you're starting out late, man, Doc yelled back. And it's 5 in the morning, you just leave? Yeah, but the storm keep we back this morning. It passed now, and as it's market tomorrow, we say let we go and get what we could. We go be back by you 6, maybe 7 o'clock in the evening. You know, none of we rich, and look, Monday I have school fee to pay for boy. Davy shouted back as he flipped his pirogue over on the sand. Roscoe and Dan joined him, and all 3 pirogues, the Island Girl, the Gullwing, and the Royal Palm, took off in unison. Doc stood on the veranda watching them charge into the waves, heading out into open water. He watched then until there were specks on the horizon. Then he looked up at the sky. Yes, the weather seemed better once the morning storm had passed, but an ominous spot of gray persisted to the south. He shook his head and said a silent prayer for their safety. I ain't like how they leave so late in the day, he said to himself. Better they ain't go at all. The day proceeded as normal. Holidayers staying at the surrounding beach houses came by, happening upon a humble rum shop. Happening upon the humble rum shop by chance, stopping in to chat, get a rum punch, and lime away a few hours. Some American tourists just happened to see the place and drop in to have an authentic experience, although all they could do was make comparisons between this small Caribbean island and the United States. Everything was bigger and better where they come from, more modern and progressive. The American women screamed at the 2 cockroaches they see by the bar and took exception to the crabs scurrying among the fallen palm fronds on the beachy yard. Man, it get Doc real vexed. He was a man who did not get easily vexed. What he asked these people come here for, he asked rhetorically. Better they stay home, yes? They say they come here for authentic, but they want everywhere to be like a little United States of America. Doc had traveled to the United States during his sailing days, and he knew it was not all it was cracked up to be. Let them keep the United States, he ranted. Give me this paradise of mine any day. By the time 6 o'clock come around, Doc start looking out for the boys. He was not yet in a state of anxiety. By 7 o'clock, he had an ominous feeling and a little wave of nausea in the pit of his stomach. Just nervous, he reasoned. As a former fisherman, he knew all the situations that caused delays in fishing expeditions. By closing time around 10 in the evening, he told the waiter, "You go home, boy. I go stay open a little while longer in case they come. You know they go want their drink of rum first thing." The waiter wiped off all the tables and chairs and set everything straight. "It's all right, boss. I go lie down on the bench in the veranda," said the waiter. He had sensed a feeling of panic in Doc's voice. A little after 11, Doc, exhausted, drifted off. It was 1 in the morning when the boys swanned in, cool so. They were jovial as usual. "Where the hell all you was?" Doc asked with relief. "We get a good haul. After the storm, the fish was biting. Good, Davy said. Doc rushed to pour out drinks as the boys settled down in some chairs around the table. "Let we have a few drinks before we go home," Roscoe said. They all laughed. All the anxiety and panic Doc felt earlier slipped away, leaving him with a few tears he tried to hide from the boys. They drank up and left the rum shop, leaving behind chairs pulled out and glasses and rum bottles littering the tabletop. "Too tired to clean up," Doc said. "I'll go clean up in the morning." Instead of going to his bed, Doc slumped into the chair behind the counter and dropped off into a deep sleep. His boys were safe. That was all that mattered to him. Doc woke up at 6 in the morning. The sky was already pink and gold with the break of dawn. He felt stiff from sleeping in the chair whole night. He slowly came to life and looked around. The room was in shadow, but he could see enough to notice the table was wiped clean, and the glasses and bottles that littered the tabletop where he entertained the boys earlier were gone. "Like the waiter sneak in and clean up," he said to himself. Then he went to the veranda. The waiter was fast asleep on the bench snoring, with his knapsack under his head and his jacket covering his torso. Still shaking sleep from his brain, he woke up the waiter. Something was a bit off, but he couldn't put his finger on it. "The boys come home late, he said. "You must be coming and clean up after I fall asleep." "No, boss. I sleep here whole night. Me and see nobody," the waiter said, rubbing sleep from his eyes. "And if the fellas and them come home, how come their pirogues ain't here? And no drag marks above the waterline where they does usually leave them?" Doc went cold. He looked around at the seascape before him. The sky was clear as a full sun broke over the horizon. It is then he saw something bobbing at the low tide waterline far out, right in front of the rum shop. He went to see what it was. The waiter saw him bend over and look at it, and then recoil. He then picked up the thing and brought it back to the rum shop. It was a section of Davy's boat, a piece of the hull with Island Girl on it. "The boys ain't coming back," he said, as the full import of what he had found sank in. Look how Davy sent me this straight in front of my door to tell me what happened," Doc said with a heavy voice and tears in his eyes. Doc went into the rum shop and sat down. He was shaking. He could not believe how real the boys appeared when they came in the rum shop in the wee hours of the morning. "It's like they come to have a last drink with me," he whispered, "just like old times." The waiter spread the word of what might have happened throughout the village, and contingents of fishermen went out looking for any debris, remains, or the possibility of a survivor, to no avail. No trace of the men survived. When the seine net was pulled in, no trace of the event was caught up in the netting, as was often the case. It only went to prove how far out beyond the reach of the seine the men had been. Only the section of the hull with Island Girl gave tangible proof of what occurred. Doc knew the back end of a storm usually has the highest winds. He had seen that spot of dark cloud in the sky when the men took off. A rogue wave whipped up by high winds must have swamped the pirogues, he surmised. The rum shop customers now became the listeners as Doc told the story of his ghostly visitation in the wee hours of Saturday morning over and over. It was so real, he said to all who would listen. They come back laughing and talking like nothing happened. They would not have gone if it was not for boys' school fees on Monday. man, Monday I go in and pay for all boys' school fees and set him up in the bank for school fees for life. That boy ain't going to be a fisherman like his father. Doc became a broken man. He pictured over and over again the faces of his friends as they succumbed to the depths, their unseeing eyes wide open in shock as they sank, their hair standing on end, waving in the water like seagrass, their clothes ballooning with the weight of the water. He erected the section of the hull with Island Girl on the wall of the rum shop across from the bar where he could see it every day. And every so often he would spontaneously say out loud to no one in particular and to everyone at once, "But they come back by me for the last drink. It was so real. And this piece of Davy boat come right in front of my shop. It's like they send me a message from the bottom of the sea." The end.
Thank you, Heather. Any comments?
Very,
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 very good, Heather. Very good. Usually, well, we expected the humor and thing and to laugh, but we couldn't be laughing at with this one. Well done.
Have some other funnier ones.
Yeah, well done. A couple things. The location of Duck's Rum Shop. You talk about the Atlantic. Is it like Mayaro?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
is it
Every beach I write about is my
Maya-
arrow.
Mayaro? Okay. All right. And well, the title is Duck's Rum Shop.
Yeah.
I would have liked something about that ghostly visitation, some embedded in that title. I would have done
Yeah, but I
something.
didn't really want, you
I would have
know,
done something like that because that's to me is what carries the story, that ghostly visitation.
yeah.
Okay.
But you see, it's a surprise, eh? So a title might have given you a clue.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, rather bittersweet kind of finish, because the reality of it is that they he thought that he had that, you know, that the men were there, that they were present,
Mm.
when in reality they were not. It's such an interesting twist. And yeah. And of course, like every good Trini, he keeps reminiscing about that incident. Yeah. I enjoyed it. It's a very good Trini story. Very
Well,
nice.
I'm 50 odd years in Canada, so far away from Trini, but anyway, I'm still Trini.
Yeah, the way you set the scene immediately made me think about Mayaro
Yeah.
and the rough waters and so on. But on the other hand, you chose the word pirogue, which in my mind, I think, what are those boats called? Those fishing boats? Is a pirogue just a dugout
We
canoe?
do we do have those in Mayaro, you know. We do have
Mm.
sorry.
A dugout canoe?
We do have those in Mayaro and pirogues.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Uh,
dugouts with a outboard engine.
uh-huh.
Yeah. So we have
Well,
them. Fishermen use them to go out. And that's the thing. It, it is nightly they go out and they come back in the morning to fish. Like I know I wrote a poem on Calibre where we talk about they go into this unknown and you don't know what will happen to them.
Mm.
It's really a challenge nightly they take when they leave. You don't know what will
Yeah.
happen out there.
A, a toss of the dice.
So it's a daring profession, very, very daring profession.
yeah. Yeah, I used to work offshore, and there was a fisherman but he had several boats, and he used to call them pirogues, and he's from Mayaro also, so that's a common term. one other thing, I want to say in this story, Heather says that they proceeded as normal, and that remind me, that when I was in primary school, there was this story, this lesson in one of the West Indian readers, and they said that it started like this: the day opened brilliantly fine, the sun shining from the cloudless sky, and there was no indication of the coming disaster. And when Heather said that the day proceeded as normal, immediately that thought came to me, and I tell myself, well, disaster coming. Oh, but Heather, it was a nice story, and I really liked it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. All right. If not,
Mi-
I saw
Kush,
Althea
Kush?
coming in.
Yes, you saw Althea, right?
Oh, that's what you wanted to say?
Yes, Gush.
Oh, okay. Hi, Althea. Would you like to read your piece? Or do you want to give it a minute?
Yeah, I will in a bit.
All righty.
Yeah,
No
sure.
problem.
Thanks.
All right. So we'll move right along to Mutilal.
That wasn't Althea.
That was at least.
Alicia. Okay. Alicia, have you
Sorry. I actually thought you were talking to me.
No problem. I thought you were Althea. Althea, hi.
Oh.
She's on mute.
Okay, 1 minute. I'll ask her to unmute. Because I know she sent her piece to us in advance. We're all right, so perhaps she just stepped away for a bit. We'll move along to Mutilal. And then I'll check in with her after his reading. Muti, the floor is
Okay.
all yours.
Thank you. I'll read part one of this story because part two is more a love story that I was saving for our next meeting. So, okay, this story is one of my earlier stories that I wrote. It's called Rajnath and Nirmal. Rajnath let out a long stream of spittle from the corner of his mouth while using his tongue to shift the Datwan. He usually came just before 6 to the standpipe to brush his teeth and bathe in preparation for going to work at Serju's Cocoa and Coffee Estate. This morning, he had carefully cut about 7 inches of the coil of soap vine, also called savonette, that hung on the roseau bough, one of the many that supported the thatch roof of their house. He wanted to finish his morning routine ahead of folks coming to tote water. He chewed one end into fine bristles and tasted the frothy and soapy foam in his mouth as he brushed his teeth, occasionally spitting. After brushing his teeth, he split the Datwan and scraped his tongue before Kula Karain, that is, filling his mouth with water and leaning his head backwards and gargling noisily before spitting out the water. Most of the male villagers brushed their teeth at the standpipe, and one could see many halves of Datwan in the grass. Bhagarati Trace had recently gotten pipe-borne water, and only last month, 1 year after the 1956 general election, there was a big buraha with the villagers and the member of parliament celebrating this event. In order to demonstrate the quality of water, Mr. Choda Singh opened a bottle of black and white, poured some in a glass, added water from the pipe, drank, and invited some of the men present to do the same. They all pronounced it good, and Rajnath had wondered if they meant the water or the whiskey. Rajnath was a thin, wiry boy, then 17 years old. He had brought along a piece of blue soap from his mother's scrubbing board and carried a bucket and a mobile oil tin. He was bareback and had on a white flower bag sliders, as the loose-fitting homemade underpants were called. He would leave the bucket to fill under the pipe and bathe himself with the mobile oil cup, as all motor oil tins fashioned into cups were known. This was his first job, where he tallied the hours the laborers on the estate worked, and he did not want to be late. Although his father was the foreman on the estate, he could expect no special favors. Pusha expected all workers to be present before him and would not tolerate lateness. At 7 a.m., all cards would be collected by Rajnath and the times recorded in the payroll book. If a worker came in after 7, Pusha would tell him to go and clock in on a cocoa leaf. He would then be sent home, thus losing a day's work. Rajnath has passed his school leaving exam, earning distinction in arithmetic, English, and general knowledge at the Pinal Rock CM School. Mr. Paul, the school principal, wanted him to become a monitor, but since this was a non-paying position, until he could write and pass the assistant teacher's exam in 2 years' time, his father had insisted that he work on the estate where he could earn money and learn bookkeeping. He had already lathered himself and was liberally pouring water over his head when he saw Nirmal Mathura coming for his morning bath. Nirmal had to leave early in order to attend Naparima College in San Fernando. He was the only boy in the village to attend high school. They were about the same age and had attended Pinal Rock CM in the same class until 3 years ago when Nirmal left for high school before writing the school leaving exam. School leaving, I mean nothing now, his father had said. To come somebody, you had to pass Cambridge. Mr. Mathura, who had his own cocoa and coffee lands and owned one of the 2 cars in the village, was one of the few men who could afford to send his son to college. Although they were firm friends at one time, Nirmal and Rajnath had lately become distant as they became aware of their social positions. The servant girl would be the one to tote water for the Mathura household, but she did not come to work until 7. Nirmal liked to bathe at the pipeside. Unlike Rajnath, he had a tech toothbrush in his mouth. He carried a small tube of Colgate in his hand, and he would from time to time squeeze a dollop on his toothbrush. To scrape his tongue, he had tied a small piece of metal strap that had previously held a smoke herring box together. This was attached to the end of the toothbrush. Pusha said that it was better to use and use that one every day than the same toothbrush and scraper over and over. Nirmal no longer wore sliders, but sported bathing trunks, as he saw the film stars did in Where the Boys Are, Bikini Beach, and Surf Party, when he regularly broke beach and attended the 10 a.m. shows at the cinema in San Fernando. By the time Rajnath arrived home, his mother had already packed his lunch, consisting of sada roti, fried aloo, and a cockspur rum flask containing tea made from the gratings of the homemade cocoa stick. It was about 8 inches long and 3 inches in diameter, and she kept it in a clim pan in her kitchen. He was still using his flour bag hand sack that carried his school books not too long ago. Rajnath vowed to buy a proper leatherette lunch bag like his father and the other workmen when he got his pay. He hurriedly ate his breakfast, which was the same as his lunch, and left for work, making sure to reach before his father did. Flour came in 50 and 100 pounds bags to be sold in the shops and markets retailed by the pound. When emptied, these coarse cotton cloth were very durable. They were sold at 8 cents for the small bags and 12 cents for the big bags, and made very hard-wearing garments. Women made blouses, skirts, and bloomers for themselves, as well as sliders and shirts for their working husbands who needed long-lasting work clothes. Tailors lined pants and jackets and made pockets with this material. Flour bag cloth was also used by the country folks for bed sheets, pillowcases, and chadars as coverlets, and in a smaller degree as bath towels and even curtains. Wash day in Bhagarati Trace Penal would see flour bag sheets of white billowing like giant sails in the wind. Now Mrs. Mathura was also packing Nirmal's school lunch. She placed pieces of fried moko in 2 quarters of sada roti. Nirmal has asked her not to give him tomato chokha, curry aloo, or baigan takari, as these became runny while he ate, often staining his shirt. Still, he felt ashamed of his roti among his fellow students and envied their cheese and egg sandwiches, as well as their hot dogs and hamburgers. He had not known what a hot dog or hamburger looked like until he came to Naparima. He kept his roti hidden inside of the brown paper bag and would put his mouth deep in the bag as he took his bites. One day, a friend snatched his bag to see what he was hiding, saw the roti and moko, and begged Nirmal to exchange this for his hot dog. Nirmal liked it and began trading lunch. Even when he found out that the hamburger contained beef, he continued to do so. He kept it a secret from home, for his parents, who was Hindu, would have disapproved. Rajnath continued his timekeeping job at the estate and was soon assisting the accountant, who came in every fortnight to do the books. The accountant was impressed and encouraged Rajnath to start a corresponding accounting course. In 2 years, Raj would have passed Part 2 on the ACCA exam, and the accountant would come in only once a month as Rajnath became more proficient. Meanwhile, Nirmal failed Cambridge twice and left school. Not even a grade 3, Mr. Mathura complained. His plans for Nirmal to help in the cocoa estate was shut down by Mrs. Mathura. My son ain't going to be no laborer, she said. Let the boy take a break. Next year, I will send him to America. Thank you. So that was part 1. Next week, I will do part 2.
That was that was very, very descriptive. It's a great example of showing and not telling, especially the first part about the guy spitting and the sound effects you made there. And then your mention of blue soap, that took me way back to when I was 6 years old. I had my mouth washed out with blue soap for no reason whatsoever.
Because
very, very entertaining. Very
But
Frank is
Frank,
correct.
description.
Frank is correct.
how you could have
You
no
wash
reason, boy,
mouth with
and
blue soap.
you learn how to swear from Nani?
You wash mouth with blue soap when you use expletives. You got your
Which he
mouth.
learned from Nani.
Yeah, Nani. He
Oh,
encouraged the Nani, in that stuff. Yeah.
oh. Well
I was
written.
I was actually reminiscing with that whole issue of the exchanging of the lunches, and children today still do it. Sometimes what their parents give them, they're not too excited about it, even though sometimes it's healthier. But they would trade it with their friends and, take the fast food and whatever else their friends may have and give up their lunches, you know. And like I too find it to be, yeah, the details, the details, it really is, yeah, highly, highly descriptive. The sensory words, the adjectives, yeah, excellent. It's what I would like my
Thank you.
children to do in creative writing, show not tell.
Thank you. Thank you.
What I particularly like about his story is that I don't see anybody in that first part striving for anything. But the impression I'm getting is that the writer is capturing a past that is gone. Talking about pipe stand, talking about this, clothes, food, whatever, whatever. It's just, and while he was reading the story, I was thinking whether it was before 1962 or after 1962. Um, because I'm getting an old rural place that my grandmother would have grown up in, or I would have grown up to a point. Um, without really any real character at that point in time striving to get anywhere at all in terms of motivation and things. But yet you find that he's telling you a story. In fact, in those pages, he's telling a story that there are several stories in that story that you could look and see that's how it is, that's where it is, and we are moving away in a sense, although he didn't say that. He's moving away where this fella is going to do a correspondence course. I think it is from that stable past that education may play, I'm not sure, may play a role in the change in the character's life. But I particularly like that cool scene, but that one and where you're brushing teeth by the pipe stand and that area there. I think I like that piece there. I think that kind of touched me there because that reminds me so much of growing up in Esperanza, where there was a river. And we used to go to the river there and brush teeth and full water and bathe, wash clothes. Anyway,
Well, Vish, I mentioned an incident in the story there that was dated. I said it was after the
1950
1956 general
election.
yeah, he said that.
election,
Yeah, yeah,
and I talk about Mr. Judah Singh.
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, in our village where I used to live before I come to now, um, around that time, well, we were just, I could hear the older people saying, Mr. Ajoda Singh helped me get water. All right, so that in about 1959, that we had the first pipe stand and running water in Bagarati Trace in Lachus Road, right? So that
Is
would
that
the story.
I
Also, that thing about the roti. I started school in 1963 in Modsec. Pinal country boy coming to school in town, and the fact that most of us used to kind of hide our roti. And this thing about trading the lunches, I had a friend of mine, I had a friend from San Fernando who was sitting in my class and next to me. and he want to see what I eating. And boy, and it's then I eat beef if my mother know I eat beef, so that kill me. So I didn't know what a hot dog or a hamburger. So that's what my experiences fused to the story too. So that I suppose that would date it. And it was a common thing. Everybody go early by the pipes and brush their teeth with there's this thing we so call it soap fine, sabunet.
That's right.
Sabun is soap
So
in Hindi. And this vine, once you chew it, you used to get a soapy stuff that you used to brush your teeth with. So I don't know if that clear up anything.
I think Mr. Joe, that thing was called the Minister of Sprains and Strains.
Is that
Oh,
the
no,
Joda
but
Singh who would manipulate your ankle and your foot and all that?
that's right. He was the MP for the penal area.
Yeah.
He was the he's a pull strains and all this kind of thing. Yes.
He
Yeah,
manipulated my
yeah.
ankle as a boy. I still have a limp from that.
I think a Joda
Right.
Singh was buried at the Rosilla Presbyterian Cemetery. By where the school is, he was buried there on the hill.
Okay.
Waiting for part two.
Yes, part two is the love story part. That is next week.
Yes. So Mutila,
Next
we're all
week.
waiting for two. I'm going to move along to Althea. Althea, are you available to read?
Yes, I'm a bit confused because when I signed on, it was 5 to 8 my time, and you had already started. So I'm looking at the program and I saw that Krishna was reading first. So did I miss that?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Althea,
I'm
we already
reading.
1 hour and 15 minutes into the program.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay. I'm reading Rooms, a Vignette. My husband, Henry, and I are picked up by his cousin at Heathrow Airport and dropped off an hour or more later at a house in Brent, a borough in Middlesex, England. The house is a 50s style building situated on a long street of red brick terraced houses that look like carbon copies of each other. We are no strangers to this house in Brent. We last visited 7 years ago. We enter the door that leads to another door. His niece, Beatrice, points to our room, and we climb up the brown and beige carpeted stairs that lie before us. Our room is one of 3 bedrooms in the 2-story semi-detached house. The bedroom door, like other doors in the house, squeaks when opened and closed. A white light bulb covered by a triangle golden shade hangs from a bracket in the ceiling. It is the neatest part of the bedroom. The clock, which we spotted as we entered the bedroom, has been stuck at 2:15 since we arrived in our cramped quarters. A large wardrobe taking up 2/3 of the white wall on the left is buried under an avalanche of forgotten purchases, still in their shopping bags. Its contents spill out like a bursting dam. The mirror is also covered in an avalanche of abandoned purchases. I hang my raincoat on a door that cannot close. There's a television below the clock. The chest of drawers on which the television is mounted is blocked by bargains. The drawers are clogged with discounted goods. I cannot turn on the TV. The remote is missing, and I refuse to search for it. Do not have the will to. We find hangers scattered on the floor between the closet and the guest bed, and hang our coats upon other coats draped over an open wardrobe door. Henry, fed up with the squeaking doors, run downstairs to the kitchen in search of oil to lubricate the noisy hinges. He finds cooking oil, which he immediately applies. The house is a quieter place. We go downstairs to join Henry's sister, who is a few years older. She is a light brown face, plump woman in her mid-80s, and her daughter, who resembles her, is in her late 60s. The dark living room and dining room are cluttered with cabinets filled with glasses and crockery. Shelves are packed with photos and framed family awards. Behind and between the sofa and armchairs are bagboard shopping. I ask mother and daughter permission to open the curtain and let in some light. They agree. We sit down at a dining table to celebrate our arrival. Rum, brandy, sherry are among the drinks on offer. A case of wine sits on the floor nearby. We cannot stretch our legs. They are hindered by purchases under the table and covered by a thick red tablecloth. And as the drinks flow, Henry and his sister begin their conversational journey down memory lane. It is no different from their hour-long telephone conversations. Only now they are sitting across from each other. Their best years behind them, they reaffirm events they shared in their youth. confirm the names of people, places, occasion, and year, and repeat, repeat, repeat. It is the space in which they wish to live. It brings them joy. I watch the daughter, drink in hand, surf the shopping channels. The cluttered room is a lonely place.
Thank you, Althea. Any comments? And this was also sent out for review.
It's a brilliant piece, very descriptive. It makes you feel claustrophobic. Althea, are you here?
Yeah,
Yes, I said it's a brilliant piece, very descriptive. You feel a sense of claustrophobia
yeah,
by all this abundance of mainly shopping.
shopping.
Shopping, so it's
Shopping,
like
Yeah.
knickknacks.
a vice. What do you call it? Some when you have this vice, the
Shopaholics.
shopaholics. Well, yeah, that's good.
Shopaholics. Yeah,
So
yeah.
so you have clogged and avalanche and oh yes, you can't, no space to put to stretch your legs. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was well done.
Thank
And
you.
nice
Thank you.
impressionistic piece
Uh,
that
I
Thank you.
does its job.
I agree with Krishna. I think it's a brilliant piece. Also, when Althea was reading, and when I saw it earlier, I tell myself, well, this is something straight out of Agatha Christie. So, hoping that when maybe Althea expanded, there'd be some sort of mystery within the story. But I remember, well, I going to England in the late 1970s. My sister was living there, and the way Althea described the house and the size and the lack of space and all that, I remember she had a small house like that. So I remember
Mm,
something like that in the 1970s and 1978, 79 in England. But I like the piece.
mm.
Althea is a brilliant piece. I agree with
Thank
Krishna.
you.
When I
Um,
first,
yeah, someone was speaking.
yeah, me, Vishnu, when I first read the story, I'll be honest with you, I was looking for dialogue. Okay? The story, there's no dialogue in the story. I mean, I write the dialogue, so I look for dialogue. I
Okay.
wanted to, I want to
It's,
hear the characters speak. But when I
yeah,
reread the story, I saw that like every little paragraph, there was a story in the little paragraph. There was like something happening there. Even on page 2, and I thought there would have been some kind of communication. But then I didn't miss the dialogue afterwards because the pictures you were painting were so effective that I was able to see exactly what you were painting at. And I think you could expand the story, quite honestly.
okay.
Uh, I think
Well,
if you,
No,
this is
beg
your
to
story, right? Not my story.
I beg to
But
differ, Vish. I think that's complete, and I love the way you ended it, Althea. The cluttered room is a lonely place, and the sister Henry and the sister talk. They go down memory lane, and they just repeat, and you repeat the word repeat to emphasize the repetition. Henry and his sister talk, and it mimics the conversations that they have on the telephone. Um, with the best years behind them, because that's all they can do. Just repeat
Mm.
the life that they have lived. I, 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 I leave that story as is, very compact. As I use the word impressionistic, because it's a series of descriptions that depend on just this description to evoke what you're trying to say. No dialogue is necessary.
Yeah, it's a vignette. It's not a short story, but a vignette, and the purpose is to evoke a feeling.
Mhm.
I'm describing a situation. I didn't use the word hoarding,
Yes.
but it's a situation. The story is about hoarding things.
Yes, yes, that is what I got.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is what
people
I
who
got.
hoard
And
things, and people whose memories, uh, who no longer live in the present, they live in the past because their memories are no longer what it used to be. And so they keep repeating the same, they've forgotten what they said, and they keep repeating the same thing over and over again. Yeah.
and you often see it sometimes with individuals, as you're saying, they would have reached a certain age and the life that they had is more interesting than their day-to-day life, their present-day life. And so whenever you visit, they speak the same things. They talk about how things were back in the days. They would reminisce about their life of long ago. And it is something I would have experienced with some of my older aunts, right? Because most of my aunts would have lived into their 90s. And when you visit, those are the kinds of stories that you would get. And that issue of clutter, that is something too that I would have seen as a child. Sometimes you visit some person's homes and they have all these little knickknacks, and every way there's a little piece of ceramic and something hung up on the wall, and a line of postcards, and a lot of stuff that is really, yeah. So you're correct. That vignette it's very evocative. It brings back a lot of memories for me at least, as to that kind of cluttered space.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, we'll go along. Althea, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
We'll go along to Alyssa Janke with Mukesh's Encounter.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we
Hi.
can.
Oh,
Loud
okay.
and clear, Alisa. Go.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure. Well, this little this little reading is not really a short story. Is excerpt from um a general novel about an old bridge. It's supposed to be based on folklore. However, I think for a little while I want to give folklore a break because you know, I find like there's a lot of folklore um publications about. So this is Mukesh Encounter. So the person, the narrator is Mukesh himself, and he is talking about his encounter on the bridge. Excuse me. My father and mother are planning my wedding. I have never seen or met my bride to be. They say she is from Rio Claro side. So far, why couldn't they pick someone that I already know? Was she a beautiful girl? Did her roti and tomato chuka taste good? Did she know how to keep the house clean? My parents simply told me that she is a good Hindu girl and I should be elated to marry her. I never had a girlfriend, never went out with a girl. I spoke to girls before, but I was never in a serious relationship. I was busy going to school, securing my passes, and finding a good job. I thought about some of the men I knew who had ugly wives and I shuddered. My parents say the girl is a good girl, but what if she was very dark and very ugly? My friends would laugh at me. I really hope this woman that my parents choose is pretty enough. My mother worked as a maid for a family in Parfus. She came home extremely tired, but she always managed to cook and wash the clothes. I hope my future wife does the housework. I do not want her to get a job. My money is enough to support a family. My father is a drunkard. His money is little, and that's why my mother works. He is busy wasting money on alcohol. That money could have been put to better use. I worked at the sugar refinery in Reform. I usually arrive at home before dark, but Monday night I was liming with some friends. I started walking home around 6 p.m. Before I could set foot on the bridge, I saw this really beautiful girl. She was very light skinned and her dress outlined her shapely body. I never saw a shape like that before. She had a fairly large bosom, a thin waistline, flat stomach, and very round hips. She had long black flowing hair, black as night. I wanted to speak to her, but I felt a bit awkward. What do I say to a beautiful girl like that? Men will definitely swoon over her. Would she even take a second look at an average boy like me? As I walked along the bridge, I saw her walking slowly coming towards me. Why was she limping though? Did she fall and injure herself? I decided I had to speak to this woman. She came closer. For some reason, I felt as though I couldn't utter a sound. A young man came up from behind me. Walking briskly, he overtook me and went up to her. To my surprise, he greeted her. They embraced and walked past me. I turned around watching this couple holding hands. A strong, cool wind invaded the bridge. Her dress blew up, exposing her calves and feet. One foot didn't look right. It seemed like the foot of a cattle, a hoof. I stood frozen on the spot. What do I say to the young man? He was in danger. As I stepped forward, intending to call out to the young man, I saw him throw himself off the bridge. The lady turned to me and grinned. Si uka pali mue katali, she said with a diabolical feminine laugh. I recognized that patois. It meant if you spoke, I would have taken you away. I sped across the bridge. The more I ran, the further the other end of the bridge seemed. Her laughter rung in my ears. A sharp pain shot through my left leg and I stumbled. I fell flat on my face. I looked up. A giant hoof appeared in front of me. I turned on my back. The lady walked to my side. Slowly, she metamorphosized into a hideous skeletal creature. She stamped her cloven hoof on my belly. I covered my mouth so I wouldn't scream. Om Namah Shivaya, I whispered. Then I shouted the prayer louder. The creature shrieked. Her shrilly screams rang throughout the night. I sat up and saw her running through the trees. Sure enough, she was gone. I lifted myself off the bridge and kept walking. Soon I arrived at the end of the bridge. I ran along the main road, arrived at Pimento Street, and sped straight home. I decided that I would stop worrying over my bride. Looking pretty is not everything. The end.
Thank you for that.
First of
Any
all,
comment?
that was very well read.
Thank you.
Yes. I
Alyssa,
just
that's
want
a
to say
different.
some.
I was gonna.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just gonna say that's a different spin
Yeah,
on the old.
no, I was just. Oh.
Yeah, Dabla story. Go ahead.
Mm. I was just going to say that in the Virgin Islands, or my part of the Caribbean where I grew up, they're called the cowfoot woman or cowfoot women, and they struck fear in people, and they use these stories as a way to keep people at home after it got dark, because horrible things would happen to them. So as soon as it got dark, people hurried home. I guess you grew up on fear. There was a lot of fear and all kinds of strange things happening after dark. So I guess it was a way to keep people at home, or maybe young men at home who would you know, to keep them safe away from straying. I guess yeah, a cautionary tale. That's what it is.
Okay. It's in Trinidad, well, we say La Diablesse, which is like that is French for wife of the devil.
Okay.
And like well, it's the same thing as well. People would tell these stories because they didn't want, men walking out. Well, they don't want anybody, particularly the men, walking after dark or coming home late or going to Lime late and coming home 1 o'clock in the morning or in the night. So they used to tell these stories so that people wouldn't be out late. So that was
Yeah,
these stories is the same thing. Like it was supposed to be a deterrent to to being outside too late at night.
yeah, yeah. So Heather, you were about to say something.
Oh no, I was just going to say it's a different spin on the traditional folklore story that
Yeah,
we've heard. Yeah. But
yeah,
I've written about the same character in different forms as well. So I really enjoyed this rendition of it. Alisa always has interesting stories. I have her book that's out on Amazon. So I've enjoyed some of the stories. And are you doing another book, Alyssa?
Hi, thanks for the comments. Yeah, I'm working on um a couple other projects. I started a book on folklore, but is not really stories, is more like information about different folklore characters and like why we came up with, like, well, not why, sorry, but like how we possibly came up with those characters and so on. So it's more like a compilation of folklore with a few stories I would have heard of and stuff like that. Because is just a way of like putting our local folklore together. So it's taken a bit of time because there's a lot of writing to do, but I hope to finish that up and move on to something else. Preferably a book about Cedrus, because I started that because like I never really came across a book about Cedrus and Icacus by itself. So I would like to do something on that because there's a lot of history down there that's neglected. Some of the history is disappearing. Just last year, when I went down to Icacus, one of the estates, it's being eroded by the sea. So like places that were once dry land, it's gone, completely gone. Some houses are gone. So it's something I would like to you know to write about, because I think some of the history down there, it's either neglected, unknown, or disappearing with the coastal erosion.
Well, some of the
Alyssa,
houses that we used to rent in Lucero are gone now
yeah.
by the same, the coastal erosion down there.
Is that coastal erosion or is it
Sea level rise.
sea level rising? You think?
It could be a combination of those things, because we have rise in sea level, but I don't think it's enough to like encroach into the land. But I mean, global warming is a reality, and sea level rise is something that's happening. But I think as well it's coastal erosion, because like some parts of the south coast being filled. So like when you fill one area, the sea will erode somewhere else. So it's something like that. So like you have like filling up or deposition in one place, so the sea would take land somewhere else. And I have pictures from is last year, January last year, and the estate, the Constance estate is what it's called. And there are houses gone into the sea, and places where I used to walk, it's not there anymore. So, but it's more coastal erosion.
I wanted to say something about this story, Alyssa. So when you said you're going to take a break from folklore, but you read a piece with folklore,
Yeah.
you had me looking at it differently. So what I saw, you came back to it and the end where he's wondering what kind of girl he's getting, if she's dark and ugly. And
Yeah.
then he has this experience, his Mukesh's encounter, right? What I
Yeah.
saw when you said he's no longer going to worry about the, his intended bride being dark and ugly. So this I saw as a kind of epiphany that he experienced. So the whole encounter is in his head, not no Laja bless. Now, I don't know if that is what you had in mind, that there was no Laja bless uh, per se, but that he actually saw when the first one killed himself. But that was happening in his mind, um, so that he could now look at his bride and not think of whether she's beautiful or ugly or clear or dark. I don't know if that is what you were driving at, but that is what I got.
Okay.
So that I don't interpret it as having to do with folklore.
Okay. Well, when I spoke about taking a break, I meant like, my current projects that I'm working on, concerning folklore. I would like to finish that and just take a break from like the folklore genre, because you know, there's a lot of a lot of stories out there on folklore, and I would like to do something different. So yeah, well, this excerpt Mukesh encounter, I find it was real interest. Your interpretation is very interesting, because like I didn't intend it to really be something in his mind. Um, I wanted it to be like an actual Ladra Bliss, but I wanted to include like something that he could learn from that encounter. So like I didn't want it to be a typical encounter where okay, he see this Ladra Bliss and he see this guy get killed, and that was it. I kind of wanted for him to think about something pertaining to his life or his experiences. So that is kind of what I intended. But your interpretation, I mean, is interesting. I never really heard anybody give that interpretation before. But that was interesting. And but it's supposed to be like a actual something he encountered. But like my folklore stories, like in the past, people would just write about encountering Alaja Bliss, and when they flick a match, she disappear, and that was it. I kind of want some of my folklore story, well, the fiction folklore stories anyway. I kind of want it to be something not just about an encounter, but um like having a little something on social issues and human experiences and stuff. So thanks.
All right. But my reasoning when these elements are introduced in stories, like how Heather talked about in her story about the visitation. Now that is described as if it's real, but you could put it
Okay.
down as a
Yeah.
dream. You could
Yeah.
put it
Yeah.
down as a dream. So I like when I read a story about ghosts or duendes or sukuyan or laja bless, there must be some kind of rational explanation somewhere. It has to be somewhere.
Okay.
I just
Oh,
say
okay.
because
Yeah.
as far as
Yeah.
I'm
I know what you
concerned,
mean. Yeah.
duendes don't exist, laja bless don't exist,
No, I mean it's
men don't
stories.
exist. These things don't exist, right? As far as I am concerned.
Are
But
you
if you
sure,
wish to put
Krishna?
it in, yes, yes. If you wish to put it in, give me some kind of something to hold on to that, okay, okay,
it
yeah.
real.
So
Well,
I can go ahead with my daily life,
yeah.
not looking for Lagahu and Laja Bless and Sukri
Okay.
and
Well, I mean, is the story is fiction,
or
so I
even
mean,
ghosts.
I don't think
And,
La Diable's real,
and
So
and even
yeah,
even
yeah,
ghosts, when people write about ghosts something. So
yeah.
Well,
I, I have to get some kind of
Something
well
solid
to
that
bring me back to reality. Yes.
Oh,
And
okay,
it happens. Writers do that. Writers do, like as I'm saying, just you could cite Heather's story that you just read.
yeah,
There's a
yeah,
perfect example of saying yes, it happened, or
yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time it didn't happen. He was
Okay.
sleeping on this hard bench. Was it a hard bench? And he got this dream, and a visitation. It came, and then to reinforce it, you had the piece of the ship, the pirogue, ending up before his doorstep. So things like that adds to this story and doesn't make it a ghost story,
Oh, okay.
or
Is
it adds to it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
realistic elements help to enhance the
If
Okay,
story.
I know what you
if
mean. Like if I had put like footprints on the or like if there were muddy footprints on the bridge or
Perfect,
something
perfect.
like that
Yes, Alyssa,
or like yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I know what you mean.
Somebody
Yeah.
body put footprint. He saw,
Footprints.
when as he left the bridge, because nothing happened to him. Nothing happened to him physically. He gets up and he walks away from the bridge. But as you rightly said, if he slipped as he's leaving, he slipped on some muddy footprints. And when
Yeah,
he looked at it,
footprints.
when he took the tracks,
I,
they didn't look too human to him. You know, one
uh,
one
i-
one at least didn't look too human to him. Something like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
if I may add my 2 cents, as we say, I think our Caribbean folklore, um, brings that whole issue of mystery and mystique to to our to what we have, and I get where you are coming from, Krishna, and that whole issue of you being grounded in reality. And however, at the same time, I think, or at least for me, stories that um focus on our folklore characters tend to lend, for want of a better word, a persona of itself to who we are as a people. It brings a certain characters alive. I mean, it is stories we have grown up with. Of course, a lot of children don't know some of these characters. They may not even be told about them anymore. And the kind of fear that we may have had as children is not really part of it anymore, of our whole mystery of these characters. And so a story like that. I mean, it is Mukesh encountering this individual on the bridge. And of course, the ending of the story, for me, it brings about the fact that, hey, I am here worrying about what kind of woman my parents are getting for me to marry when people are real issues out there, you know. And it's better I settle for whatever they are going to bring to me as a wife than I end up with somebody or something that I really don't want to bargain for, you know. So that kind of overlap is what I would have taken out of this story for Melissa. And it was really interesting because, you know, he would have just left and went about his business thinking all these thoughts about this woman that he's going to marry. And then had this supernatural, for want of a better word, encounter. And I think our folklore characters being blended into our everyday life, as Alyssa did it there, brings a level of mystery and mystique to our daily life. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the comments.
Thanks, Alyssa. My comment would just be the Lajablas, right? I thought it would have been interesting if she was described as something that he didn't know that he liked, as a beautiful dark-skinned woman. You know, I think it would have added a little more layers to it.
Okay,
It could
thanks.
be
Interesting.
that beautiful.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. If there are no other comments, we'll move on. Frank, are you reading today? Because I know you read your piece last time we met.
Yeah, I did last day.
Okay. All right. So we'll move on to Alicia. Alyssa and Alicia. Alicia, are you reading today?
Yes. Actually, I have a piece. It is a bit controversial by some standards. But I would have written it just after our last election, a few months or so after. And it really is supposed to be a social commentary because my cousin who is into Calypso, that is the lioness, you know, she was saying that she wanted a social commentary, you know. So I did this piece and she didn't use it. And she ended up doing something else. But I'm not going to sing it, okay? I'm not a calypsonian. That is not my talent. I'm going to read it. It's entitled Bush and Bandit, but we winning. And here goes. April 28 saw a change in the electoral state, and it's as though the new regime came in with malice and hate. After singing a mantra about everybody winning, just like that, they suddenly start firing. CPEP and URP workers get the shaft. Forestry laborers also pass under the axe. Now the country overrun with bush and bandit, but the population quiet and taking the it. But the population quiet, and instead of saying enough is enough, like they smoke in the grass or some other hard stuff. And there is only bush. This is the refrain, right? But there is only bush, bush, and bandit. Everywhere you turn, you can't seem to get rid of it. Bush on the roadway and even in front of your house. With everybody quiet like a mouse. Bush has overrun the place from country to town. And what the bush here killed, the bandit knocking down. Yes, everywhere is bush and bandit. But we winning still and biting the election bullet. Just so they adjust the financial plan and increase the allocation to only their corporation. They decide to put a dunce in charge of Homeland Security, and every time he open him out, is one set of tomfoolery. In discipline in schools, he claimed he will decrease by outfitting schools with one set of police. That strategy was supposed to be a quick fix. Still the children fighting each other and sharing licks. This has to be a gimmick or some sort of trick, because many of them will still end up a crime statistic. And when they play and feel at the back of the school should help with pent-up energy, bush so high, hide and seek is the greatest spree. The greatest fiasco, most disgusting flow. Is the PM backing Trump in a any USA war? Even though the Caribbean is supposed to be a peace zone, one call from the madman and she claims she's standing alone. It's amazing that rather than support your neighbor, you turn your back on him and acting like a traitor. And when the dragon is no longer breathing fire, you claim that they have access to your territorial water. And every time somebody asks you a question, you say, keep calm. This is your operation. Home invasion on the rise, drug wars out of control. Yet you are playing footsie with the lives of boys and girls. You're behaving like you get an epiphany, as you are now aware about drugs on the Caribbean Sea. All the time the boat's moving in and out, you have nothing to say like you put alcohol in your mouth. But one claim from the biggest drug lord in the West have you feeling you must put his theory to the test. And while the country going to take a dip in maracas, they can't see the road because it's only full up of grass. Yes, it's bush, bush, bush and bandit. Everywhere you turn, you can't seem to get rid of it. Bush on the roadway and even in front of your house. While everybody quiet like a mouse. Bush has overcome the place from country to town. And what the bush ain't kill, the bandit knocking down. Yes, everywhere is bush, bush and bandit. But we winning still and biting the election bullet.
Thank you. I liked the piece. The only thing that really stuck out to me was the mouse, because it just seemed a little cliche. My only suggestion would be like, I wonder if it could be changed to something a bit more local, or, just to give it more oomph.
Very well. Very well.
Any other comments?
Well, the repetition of bush, I don't know if that is lost on me. What it refers to.
It seemed like a good name for a book.
The bush. Huh? Alicia?
Uh-huh.
The bush refers to what? Marijuana? I don't
No,
know.
exactly what it is. Bush. Everywhere we go around the country, that's what we're seeing. You have no CPAP workers cutting the bush. The place is overrun.
Oh, it's a
Yes, so
reference
it
to
really is.
CPAP
Yes,
thing.
it is.
Okay,
It is
okay.
literal here. It's literal here.
Well,
Okay.
Krish, is bush and grass. I don't know what grass is.
I know grass is marijuana. That's what I was wondering.
Well,
I was wondering,
I like
Yes.
the
So
I
yes. So
like the double.
where it did say
the-
that, because there's
but
a
I
line
didn't,
that
but I didn't
says
link anybody with the marijuana.
yeah,
Is there?
there is
Well,
a line that says
I know you
like they
mentioned the
smoke in the
alcohol.
grass. Yes,
I-
like they smoke in the
mentioned the
grass or
alcohol.
some other hard stuff. That grass
Yeah,
is a play on the whole bush term, but of course
well,
it's relating to
mentioned
grass
the
as we know it
alcohol.
as a drug.
And yes, a number of people think he's a dunce. A number of people in Homeland Security, when you hear him talk, you say, "Listen, that is not the issue. The issue is, I'll tell you what is the issue. What the issue is not that, you know. I will tell you what the issue is." And he would have you waiting and wait. Now, to me, it's sad. It's sad because he was, a tough guy in the police, and to see him really struggle with the language, it's not good. That's how I see it. It's not good.
yes, but Alicia have no problem with the language, man. It flowed fluently.
Thank you, Mutila.
I like it. I like it. Sometimes you say a double meaning. Man, from this bush I get triple meaning.
So you say your cousin is a Calypsonian, the lioness? The lioness?
Yes.
That's good, man. Okay.
Yes.
I used to write calypsos for our students, and
Okay,
they would
excellent.
enter junior calypso
Yes.
monarch. One time, I wrote for one, Kenneth Lawrence, and he won the junior monarch, and he won the Lions Crown. And when he came in his own school, they put him third. Man going for hat trick, right? They put him third. He win the
Wow.
junior San
Yes.
Fernando Junior Monarch. Even the
that.
Lions Crown,
Yes.
Lions Crown. And in our own school now, I say, well, Kenneth, you're walking
Yes,
away with
first place.
hat trick, they put into it. And you know who was one of the judges? One of my partner, that same Louis Regis. Louis Regis was one of the judges. He say, we put two others now up front.
Right.
No problem, no problem. So yes, I used to write regularly for Calypso. I wrote for Roger Henry, the conductor who conducts our national symphony. I wrote for him. I also wrote one for Stalin's son. Stalin's son approached me and he says, want a Calypso. So I wrote one for him. You know, the boy went on sing it. As he finished singing, the vice principal, and I could say, call his name Rolly, me call him now, call him. And I see him chatting animatedly. So afterwards, I call Stalin's son. I say, what was that all about? Stalin's son berated the man. He said, where get a Calypso from? Say, Mr. Samaro. He said, listen, write your own damn Calypso, and stop begging people for Calypso. Right? Yeah, so it affected me because, you know, who is one of the greatest writers of Calypso? Devine, Winford Devine, right? He sang some, but he was more a writer than this other fellow. A number of them are writers, lyricists. Just like how you have people who write songs and people who sing songs. What is wrong with that? You have people who write calypsos and people who sing calypsos. A number of calypsos that Sparrow sang was Devine, Winford Devine, and actually there was a court case leading to that, where Sparrow claimed a number of calypsos, right? He had, I don't know if you know this story. Sparrow claimed a number of this story. And he was collecting the royalties. And Winford Devine, somebody acted on his behalf. And I think Regis is telling me is a calypsonian who threatened to beat Sparrow, you know. And they carry him by a lawyer, and they got him to acknowledge that these calypsos were written by Winford Devine. Good. And the royalty is supposed to go to him as writer. I am the singer. Whatever supposed to come to me, comes to me. But he's the writer, Winford Devine. And they have it, I have a copy of the book of Winford Devine's calypsos. So yeah. It's good. So what I'm saying is continue to write and offer to your cousin. One day she might pick up Alicia. One day she might pick up one, and who knows where I could reach with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that was the perfect way to close our meeting today. Because our next meeting is going to focus on love at Carnival.
Yes,
Cassie is there, you know. Cassie is there.
Yes.
And
Oh,
there's a guest, Dolly Paria.
Yeah. And we thank
Yes,
everyone
oh.
that attended today as our guests. Cassie, Dolly, Trelton came in.
Yes, I see Trelton, the famous
Yeah.
Trelton. Came in and he disappeared.
And Trelton had one of his songs
did you read?
showcased at a Kaiso competition this week. I can't remember her first name, but the last name is Singh, was the singer. And it's Enough is Enough. So I shared it on my WhatsApp, and I shared it on my page if anyone wants to take a look at it.
Okay.
So our next meeting will be in 2 weeks. Thank you to everyone that shared and everyone that attended.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Did you say the theme is love?
Love
Well,
and
it's
Carnival.
Valentine's Day.
Althea.
And we're falling right in
February
with the
14th.
carnival as well.
Yes, and then we meet on the 15th. So love and carnival.
Love and
Love
carnival.
and
love.
Carnival.
That is
Okay,
carnival.
love
That is
and
carnival
carnival.
Sunday.
Yeah, so
Okay.
moving on,
yes.
part two of his story
That is
with these
cannibalism.
two guys. I suppose they're gonna fight for the love of a certain girl, Rajnath and
Yes,
Nirmal.
it will
Nirmal.
fall right in with the love.
Yeah, Rajnath and Nirmal. One of them will get the girl, and I know who it is.
Okay,
Thank you.
Good
next
night,
next week.
everyone.
Yes. Have a good
Right.
evening and a
Have a great night.
fantastic week.
Yes. Thanks. We had a nice meeting. Thanks you all.
Yes.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Bye
Take
bye.
care. Yes. Eat my food.